in my purse at any given time. One is mine, and the other one is Benny's wake up. That's right, her wake up. And as soon as I use my chapstick, I will immediately be prompted, I have some. It's an attempt to not have to share my chapstick with those grimy, dirty little lips. Ew. We've all seen the food crusted on your face, Benny. I don't want to share my chapstick with you. Let's get this podcast started. Welcome back to Not Gonna Lie, a Wave original brought to you by Cheerios. I'm your host, Kylie Kelce, Jersey Shore enthusiast, the actual Jersey Shore and also the TV show. Still on a quest to adopt a cat, and I'm what TikTok describes as a type C mom. I'm still not 100% sure what the difference between a type B and a type C is. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. But I'm somewhere in there. I'm definitely not type A. I can tell you that for certain. Coming up on today's episode, I'm going to get honest about the fourth trimester with a real special emphasis on how uncomfortable it is to get dressed during this particular period of time. And as a lifelong animal nerd, I'm so excited about today's guest. When Queen Emma told me we booked her, I said, and I quote, "Kiss my ass." That's an excited kiss my ass, not an actual kiss my ass. I would never say that to the Queen herself. It's wildlife conservationist and CEO of the Australia Zoo, Bindi Irwin. I can't believe I just said that. Hold on, I gotta try not to tear up. Guys, I'm 2 months postpartum. You can't hit me with like super emotional things. I will tell you, I am an animal nerd to the extent that now in everyday life, I use my children as decoys to be like, don't you want to pet the dog? It's me. I want to pet the dog. When people say that we can come and visit their farm so that the kids can check out their cows or goats or whatever else, it's me. My kids are currently obsessed with Zaboomafoo. Do you want to know why? Because I wouldn't stop putting it on. I love that fucking lemur. But before I talk to Bindi, let's kick things off with a little Can I Be Honest? I'm currently in the midst of what people call the fourth trimester, which for anyone who doesn't know is the 12 weeks or so after baby is born, and mom's body is going through all sorts of crazy shit. The fourth trimester, when you have other children, I think distracts you to some extent. It really doesn't allow you the time to think to yourself, I smell horrible right now. Horrible. And I'm sweating, but the house is cold. And I think this is a hot flash, but also I'm starving, like the hungriest I've ever been. And I feel like I haven't had a drop of water in a month. There's postpartum symptoms that people don't often talk about, but you guys made the mistake of giving me a mic, so here we are. When you start breastfeeding again, you remember that when your milk lets down, sometimes it feels like hot, fiery needles to your nipples. Are we allowed to say that? Let's see if it makes the final episode cut. I think regardless of whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, we learned each other's cues. And that has made it a lot easier to know when she's hungry, when she's tired, when she's uncomfy because her diaper needs to be changed. All of those things are lovely milestones for mom's mental health. Hair loss, I experience hair loss when I am done breastfeeding, typically. That is when I have experienced the most hair loss. It's always in this area or in this area. They always end up like, you know, the spiky baby hairs. I just go with it. I try my best not to look at the brush right now, honestly, because you start brushing and then it's all in there. I will say, I think one of the most fucked up twisted things after giving birth is trying to get yourself dressed. That shit is whack. You try to put on pants and you think to yourself, I don't have a pregnant belly anymore. These are going to fit. And then the zipper is it's not even one of those situations where you zip up the pants and the button is giving you a hard time. The zipper won't even touch. The zipper said, we're at odds right now. We are not coming together. That's a moment where I'm going to say it. You got to give yourself grace. And I'm saying that because that's what I've been telling myself. I just grew a human being. And let me tell you, this is why I tell people to be open and honest and not to lie. I went into my 6-week follow-up with my angel of an OB. And I said to her, I just am having a little difficulty getting dressed. My body doesn't feel like my body. And she said, I tell everybody, you grew a human for almost a year. You really need to give yourself the space of a year to settle back into your body and to let yourself feel like yourself again. Minimum. So I bought bigger jeans and some new flowy dresses for the summertime because everybody loves a breeze. And that's all I have to say about that. That does it for Can I Be Honest About the 4th Trimester. Next up, doom scroll of the week. I was doom scrolling in the middle of the night, feeding Finn, and I swiped my way to a clip from Eagles DB's Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship's new podcast where they talked about their favorite Philly slang. Queen Emma, hit it.
What is your favorite Philly slang?
I like John. John's probably one of my favorite. Because John, you can say.
Is that how
John,
you say
that
it?
John.
Did you say John or Jean?
Oh.
John.
It's John?
John.
Wow. I might have to be fact checked on that. I don't know.
Cooper did John.
I love that he tried to make his name Philly. I do appreciate that. I will tell you, as he was saying it, and they were doing the captions, and he kept saying, John. John. When we captioned this, I needed to say John, okay? John. But it's John. Jawn. John. It's a John. And it's not a Jean, which I do believe was the question asked back. I am not making fun of them. They are not from the Philadelphia area. I appreciate that they are trying to learn our ways. But the word is John. For anyone who doesn't know, John is Jawn. John is a person, place, or thing. It's literally a noun. It can be replaced in anything. Can you hand me that, John? I was down at the store last week. I picked up one of those Johns. All of that works perfectly. Some other frequent Philadelphia words that are apparently just Philadelphia. Jimmy's. You might think of them as sprinkles, specifically the long ones that can either be rainbow or chocolate. The other one, water. Water is water. It is exactly what you think it is, which is not what anyone thinks it is. It's not from here. Water is water. I do not default to water, but most of my dad's side of the family says water. A hoagie is a sub sandwich. It's a hoagie here. Don't come over here and try and call it a sub. To be fair, all of these things, and even water ice, I believe can be found at Wawa. So if you ever want just a really good time, you go down to the Wawa, you get yourself some water ice, a hoagie. You pick those Johns up, see what happens. You know what I mean? I've been in our blooper reel from last week, people really latched onto when I said after the fact is what I said. It comes out sometimes, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I think the best Philly accent has to go to Tina Fey. It could be that she has had the opportunity to display it many times, but every single time she nails it. So, Tina, if you ever want to come have a little chat about some water ice and a hoagie, come through. I'll ask you all the questions. You know what I'm saying? And that does it for Doom Scroll of the Week. Bindi Irwin is coming up right after this. we're big fans of Cheerios in the Kelce household, and all my fellow moms out there already know Cheerios really come in clutch as the perfect toddler snack. They're just comments of the ad being like, oh my gosh, I loved your dad. And that, like, that's not the point.
That's not the place. Like,
yeah. And I'm like, oh no, that would definitely be my thoughts. That I'm just like, oh my God, I loved your dad. And then on top of it, like, he did a great turn, because the other thing that I did see related to that was him saying, now that you've seen my ad, we have a gala in Las Vegas. Totally. He turned it right back to conservation. So it's, he kind of nailed the, hey, look over here, steer him in the right direction. Yes. I can really appreciate that.
Yes. And I think I was probably liking and commenting on his steering in the other direction posts more so than his.
Maybe that's why I got hit on that algorithm.
Yeah. But it's so cool, like, watching him take the message, because we have a charity called Wildlife Warriors, and watching him grab people's attention in such a big way and then pivot and say, here's what we do, here's our work, here's our dedication to wildlife and conservation, and you can get involved. It is wonderful and extraordinary to watch him just shine. I mean, he's my little brother, so we're about 5.5 years apart. So I kind of feel like his second mum, where I'm kind of a mother hen. I'm like always trying to protect him, make sure he's okay. And I have been that way his whole life. And now just watching him shine and flourish and find his own path and voice, and it is so inspiring. Do I get a little bit scared of the women and girls and some guys that kind of are very intense?
Sure.
It's a lot. It can be a lot, but he's doing really well with all of it, and I am very proud of him. But yes,
it was a smooth bait and switch. It was.
He does very well with that. He's
I respect it. I like that he steered them right into where they were supposed. He was like, hey, look over here. But actually, let's do something that means a lot.
Conservation. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll tell him. Thank you.
I have been on record before saying that my brother-in-law, Travis, is definitely king of the funcles. Fununcles.
We say the same.
What is Robert like as an uncle?
He is such a good uncle. We actually call him a funkle as well. He
earned the title.
It's true. And it's so cool too, because as Grace has grown up, like, she just gets more and more excited to go on Uncle Robert adventures, because, you know, he kind of like pushes the limits a little. He does fun things and exciting things, and so she loves it. And he is so present with her, which I love so much. You know, I think because we're a family business, so we run Australia Zoo together, and we do everything as a family unit. So it's kind of unique in the fact that we are so our life is our work, right? So we are so involved in everything. So it's really nice that Grace has such a close-knit family, and I watch her, and she is just so happy when Robert comes and like picks her up and he takes her off for an adventure. She just lights up, and it's just really lovely knowing that she's always going to have that. She'll always have our little family unit and that love surrounding her. And it's the same, like, when we were growing up as kids, me and Robert, it's very similar with Dad. He would do the same thing where he would just pick us up and be like, okay, we're going to go hike up this mountain. Well, we're heading to the Simpson Desert to research fear snakes. And off we would go. And it was just normal to us. And I love that Dad was such an adventurer. And I see that in Robert. Like, I see he is so similar to Dad. And I'm really glad that Grace is going to have that energy in her life, like she would have had from Dad. You know, we call him Grandpa Crocodile, and it's fun because she gets to watch his documentaries, and it's really special. But I think Robert kind of brings that fun and adventure to our lives, and especially for her, it's really wonderful. So I'm very grateful for him.
I think seeing the uncle relationship, especially like with our girls.
Yeah.
Even just the other day, my husband was on a call on the computer and they assumed that he was on the podcast with Travis.
Yeah.
And they were like, we go say, our youngest, our second youngest now, said, I go say hi to Uncle Trav. And I was like, I don't think he's on the phone with Uncle Trav. And they were convinced that just because he was on the computer, they were like, we're going to go say hi to, and I'm like, girls, it's not Uncle, but like the enthusiasm, like they just know that when he comes, he's going to lock in. He's going to give them his undivided attention. They're going to be like, can you get on the floor? And he's going to be like already down there.
Yep.
So it's like, it's, you know, they have a zest that has been worn down. It's been worn down.
I'm with you.
I'm like, you want me to?
I'm so tired.
Like, if I get down on the floor, I might fall asleep.
Yes. I'm the same way. My body is like, I can't do it. I'm too tired.
Yes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
always look at the floor and I'm like, will I be able to get up?
No.
Is this a good idea?
No, it's too much. So it is really
Yes.
nice to have someone who is fresh and fun.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? So you can
Yes.
just go, okay,
You've got him.
You got this. I'm going to have a warm cup of coffee for
Yes.
5 minutes,
That's
and
it.
maybe have a shower because that
Yes.
would be nice.
Those are my two like self-care. If I can get a good shower and a cup of coffee and be able to drink it while it's still hot,
Yes.
it's a good day.
I love
good day.
It's so funny. I was watching some video that popped up the other day about how this person was shocked that women, you know, didn't shower sometimes because they have their kids, and they're like, how is that possible that you don't shower? I'm like, you kidding me? I don't think I know a mother on earth that has gotten consistent showers in her life since becoming a mum. You just don't. It's survival.
No. That's it. We might not be thriving at the moment, but we're surviving and we're doing okay about it. Okay?
Totally. And that is our best.
We're fine.
Yes. So have the fun uncle come over and everything.
That's it.
Everything will be okay. I'm with you.
Yes. I'd love to talk a little bit more about your foundation, Wildlife Warriors. I know that you also have a lot of events in support of it, including the Steve Irwin Gala that we talked about, which you shared you weren't able to attend this year because of an emergency surgery. First of all, how are you feeling?
Thank you. I am better every day. This is the first day I have worn pants since my surgery. So big moment. I've been in like those really flowy, dresses and things because but it's good. They removed my appendix and they stitched up a hernia, and I also had some more endometriosis which they removed, which I'm really grateful for. So endometriosis has been part of my life since I was 13. So it's been a long journey, but they removed more lesions, which is really exciting. And the disease itself goes undiagnosed for many, many years for most women who have it. So it's really tricky, and I'm very glad that they found more to take out. So it's up and up, where every day is better. But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully no more surgery for a little while because I've had a few now.
I really appreciate that you've been so open about your health, specifically about your endometriosis. I think I know that people in my life who have been diagnosed with it, who may have had like severe periods or severe cramps and had a lot of pain or other symptoms, that they were then sort of brushed off as like, oh, this might just be your norm.
Yeah.
But you say that you've been on record saying that doctors initially told you your endometriosis pain might have just been part of being a woman. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how mad that makes me, because it's like the epitome of us falling short when it comes to women's health. But how long did it take you to find a doctor who actually took you seriously and diagnosed you correctly?
Yeah, it took me 10 years. So it was 10 years before I had my first surgery. And I cannot even remember how many doctors I went to. Doctor after doctor, specialists. I mean, I had every test you could imagine, blood tests and CT scans and MRIs and x-rays and just you name it, I was checked for it. And what's interesting is that nothing showed up on all of those tests. I mean, according to those tests, I was a healthy young woman. And I kept saying like, this can't be normal, because I was in agonizing pain. And it was around my period. I would have this horrible pain during my period, but then it started kind of echoing out into every day of my life. So I was in pain every day, and suddenly the nausea and the fatigue was catching up to me every single day. And it actually wasn't until I had our daughter that I just plummeted, like the snowball effect. It got so much worse, and my pain, I would just lay on the floor because I just couldn't move. So I finally found a doctor in New York. His name is Dr. Seshkin, and he was so kind. He said, I guarantee you have endometriosis, but nothing shows up on tests, so the only way to find it is to do that exploratory surgery. So he went in and looked for it and found 38 lesions and a chocolate cyst. And that validation, I woke up and he said, I don't know how you functioned being in this much pain every day. And that moment of just going, it wasn't in my head. One doctor said to me, you should try prioritizing meditation and have a cup of tea in the evenings to try to like clear your mental state. And I was like, sure, this isn't a mental problem. Like, I can't function. This isn't in my mind. But you start to believe it. Like, if enough doctors tell you that you're crazy, basically, this is just being a woman, you're hormonal, you start to think, well, maybe I am just wildly anxious or depressed or something. But it's not. Like, it's not normal to be in pain. I think we need to turn the tide and believe girls and women. So if somebody comes in and says, I don't feel well, we need to believe them and then figure out what's going on, and not just say, do you want an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety? Because I was offered that medication and I'm like, that's not what this is. I don't feel well.
I will tell you, the doctor that told you can have a cup of tea can shove that cup of tea right up. You know what?
Yes.
Take your cup of tea and shove it. Your explanation of like that validation of waking up from surgery and hearing from the doctor, like, I don't know how you were sort of going about your daily life with what was going on. I feel like to go so long and being told like, oh, it's in your head, or maybe you just have a low pain tolerance, like maybe this is just what your period is, maybe this is just your experience in life, to be told that over and over again, and then to have a doctor look at you and say like, hey, we got eyes on this and I don't know how you were functioning, is such a shift in sort of like that pain tolerance, that strength of like being able to overcome those things. I can only imagine how that was a sigh of relief of like, okay, because once you have an answer like that, not only do you have validation for what you've been feeling or thinking, but then you also have the ability to get on a path to help heal yourself.
Yes.
Right? So then it's on your radar for down the road. If you have another uptick in symptoms, you know that you can go back and take care of, maybe you have more lesions or things like that that need to be addressed. But ultimately having that answer and that diagnosis not only says you're not crazy, but it also says now we know what we're treating you for.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, Kylie here again. You might recall I was just talking to you about my favorite Cheerios earlier in this episode. Turns out I love Cheerios so much, I'm back for more. My favorite kind of Cheerios? Honey Nut Cheerios. I love Honey Nut Cheerios in a fairly large bowl with ice cold milk. Ice cold. Here's the trick. If you're getting the bowl out of a hot dishwasher, because I did this last week, I rinsed my bowl with cool water before I put my milk in. I'm committed, guys. Ice cold milk, Honey Nut Cheerios, sliced bananas. How about that? I've been eating that since I was very little. That's a Big Ed staple. I'm also relying on Cheerios for my kids' breakfast. Plus, it makes for a very convenient toddler snack. Cheerios are a solution for the whole family. Now, you can also try Cheerios Protein. It's protein that's actually tasty with 8 grams per serving. They've also got new cookies and cream flavor. Try Cheerios protein today. Head to Cheerios.com for more info.
10 years ago, Lululemon made a yoga type. They called it Align, and we've been stretching ourselves in it ever since.
I'd love to talk to you about parenting
Yes.
a little bit more.
Definitely.
There's something I know my kids would definitely want me to ask you, and I think I already know the answer. But how big is Bluey in your household?
Oh my goodness. Bluey is life. Bluey
Right?
is
We watch it
everything.
every night before bed because they're short little episodes. It's like our transition into shower and bedtime.
My brother was actually a voice on Bluey, if you can believe it. He played Alfie.
Yes, in the store where they're shopping for the. We were watching the episode, and this is such a weird thing. I say my superpower when I'm pregnant, which is the lamest superpower to get. But I swear, when I hear like animated voices, I can pick out who it was.
That is a cool superpower.
But it's only when I'm pregnant, so don't.
So
I'm done with it now. But I was sitting there and I was like, why does that person sound familiar? And it took me a little while, but I eventually got there. But my husband and I will watch Bluey with our girls, and we are like, I feel like we should be taking notes from Chili and Bandit because
me too.
They're just so good. You also just put out a new children's book about your life at the Australia Zoo called You Are a Wildlife Warrior, which I cannot wait to check out. How did your daughter react to seeing herself in the book for the first time?
Oh my goodness, it was so cute. So I started working on this book when Grace was born because I just held this perfect little tiny human and went, oh my goodness, her life is going to be so special and unique and unusual. I mean, we live at a zoo, so it is wild. So I wanted to tell her story growing up through her eyes, our home and our connection with wildlife. And so it has finally come together and it's so special. But watching her read through the book is the cutest thing because I asked her which animals she wanted included in the book. So all of her best friends, best animal friends are in the story. So whether that's Brandy the koala or DJ the rhino or Forrest the giraffe, they're all in there. So when I showed her the book, I was like, Grace, look, that's you and Mama. And I was so excited to show her illustration. She did not care that she was in the book. She only cared. She's like, yeah, but where are my friends that you told me would be in? So we had to flick through to all the animals because she was like, yeah, okay, that's me, but where is Forrest? Like, let's get to the part where he's there. So, I mean, it was the most honest
that just
thing.
about sums up being a wildlife warrior. You're more excited to see the wildlife than you are yourself in a published book.
Thank you for asking about it. I'm so proud of this book and I
course.
can't believe it feels like my next baby. I never knew how much
That's
work it would be
amazing.
to write a children's book, but it's so fun. So thank you.
My last and most important question for you is, what's the easiest way people at home can support wildlife conservation?
Oh my goodness. There are so many ways you can get involved. Simple things like choosing to turn off the tap while you brush your teeth or choosing a reusable water bottle. Those little things, walking to work, those little things really help. But if you want to make a bigger difference, volunteering your time is so important. If you have the ability to volunteer at a local wildlife hospital or center, if you are able to get involved by hosting a clean up the beach day or clean up the park day, any way that you can give your time to help the planet is phenomenal. And then also, if you want to learn more about our conservation work, you can go to wildlifewarriors.org and see all of our wonderful conservation initiatives. And I think that we all have the unique opportunity to leave a legacy and make a difference for the future generations. So any way you are able to get involved is making a difference. You just have to start. So yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
We obviously we discussed how you weren't able to make the gala. But we would love to provide a link. So we will provide a link in our show description. If you are not watching on YouTube, you will also find the link on our Not Gonna Lie social media. And we will be making a donation to the Wildlife Warriors from Not Gonna Lie. We are so inspired by your work. We are so, so grateful that you came to chat with me today. It is beyond an honor. Please tell your mom I said hi, because I would be remiss if I did not mention that. As if she's going to you're going to be like, Kylie said hi. And she's going to be like, who the heck is Kylie?
No,
and I'm okay with that.
She's actually
I just
here
need
today.
you to say hello.
She's going to be so stoked. So thank you. I definitely will. But no, thank you for everything and for being a wildlife warrior. You are an honorary wildlife warrior. You are now
thank you so much.
Part of our family. And I am going to be sending you a khaki uniform for when you come and visit.
Perfect. Thank you so much again to Bindi Irwin for joining me today. You can purchase her book, You Are a Wildlife Warrior, right now. And thank you so much to our friends at Disney for helping us get a strong Wi-Fi.
Kylie Kelce is dishing on just how fun her kids have with their fun uncle, or funkle, Travis Kelce. The 33-year-old mom of 4 opened up about all the fun brother-in-law Travis, 35, has with her daughters on the latest episode of the Not Gonna Lie podcast with guest Bindi Irwin, and praised him for providing them his undivided attention. He's definitely king of the funkles. Kylie told Irwin and shared that she loved seeing her daughters Wyatt, 5, Elliot, 4, Bennett, 2, and newborn Finley interact with him. She also added that Travis also has a zest in his time with them that's been worn down in her. They just know that when he comes, he's gonna lock in, she continued. He's gonna give them his undivided attention. They're gonna be like, can you get on the floor? And he's gonna be, like, already down there. Kylie also noted that the time Travis spends with her daughters allows her a chance for her to indulge in her own self-care for a few moments out of the day. It is really nice to have someone who is fresh and fun, she added. You got this. I'm gonna have a warm cup of coffee for 5 minutes and maybe have a shower because that would be nice. Kylie previously praised Travis and his adorable relationship with her daughters in another episode of Not Gonna Lie back in January, and revealed that they love to open up to Uncle Trav and are easily distracted by him. She recalled a time her husband Jason Kelce told them to go upstairs with mom, but they continued to chat with Travis instead. It got to the point where she had to tell him, Trav, stop talking to her and she'll come upstairs. Obviously Kylie Kelce is a superhero after giving birth to 4 kids, but with great responsibility comes some interesting superpowers. On this week's episode of her podcast Not Gonna Lie with Kylie Kelce, the mom of 4, who recently welcomed daughter Finley Finn in March, tells guest Bindi Irwin that she has a specific power that comes out whenever she's pregnant. As the two begin chatting about the kids' animated television show Bluey, Bindi notes that her brother Robert Irwin was actually on the show. My brother was actually a voice on Bluey. If you can believe it, he played Alfie, says Bindi. Yes, in the store where they're shopping for we were watching the episode and this is such a weird thing, admits Kylie. I say my superpower when I'm pregnant, which is the lamest superpower to get, but I swear when I hear animated voices, I can pick out who it is. That is a cool superpower, says Bindi. But it's only when I'm pregnant. I'm done with it now, jokes Kylie. But I was sitting there, and I was like, why does that person sound familiar? And it took me a little while, but I eventually got there. Kylie shares her 4 daughters with husband Jason Kelce. Elsewhere in the podcast, the mom of 4 spoke about how she's been feeling in the weeks after giving birth during a candid chat. Kylie began by saying that she's currently in the midst of the 4th trimester and her body is going through all kinds of crazy stuff. The 4th trimester, when you have older children, I think distracts you to some extent, Kylie says. It really doesn't allow you the time to think to yourself, I smell horrible right now. Horrible. And am sweating, but the house is cold. And I think this is a hot flash, but also I'm starving, like the hungriest I've ever been. And I feel like I haven't had a drop of water in a month. She goes on to say there are postpartum symptoms that people don't often talk about that she's experiencing. When you start breastfeeding again, you remember that when your milk lets down, sometimes it feels like hot, fiery needles to your nipples? Are we allowed to say that? Asks Kylie. Let's see if it makes the final episode cut.